and this is our story of survival in a world that has rarely seen our beauty. Introduction. All shut eyes ain't sleep. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. Malcolm X. I've probably come across this quote more than 1,000 times on social media, television, or even on the radio. As someone who has multiple identities, with being black and queer at the top of that list, I recognize the feeling of living in a society that sees you as disposable. I understand what it's like to put so much into a world that requires you to save it, while never once has it given a second thought about saving you. Still, being a black woman is a unique experience, one I could never fully understand, much like my own unique experience with blackness and queerness. I come from a family of strong black women. My mother, my aunts, my grandmothers, and their mothers were all women who led their families, supported one another, and stepped in to handle family business without needing to be asked. Black women have always been the ones expected to heal us and make us whole, often neglecting to take the time to heal themselves. The black woman who sat at the center of our universe was my mother's mother, who the grandchildren affectionately called Nanny. When people say we rest on the shoulders of giants, this woman comes to my mind immediately. In her life, she was most certainly disrespected, but didn't take no shit. Oftentimes, she was probably unprotected, which is why she usually carried a weapon. I know there were many times she was neglected, yet she never once neglected the duties she felt were her purpose as our grandmother. This story is a way to love, honor, and care for her in a way that the world never has. Louise Kennedy Evans was her birth name. She was born in March 1941 in Spartanburg, South Carolina. She was the 10th child of 13 children born to my great-grandmother, Lula Mae Evans. When Nanny was a little girl, her family's house caught on fire. Her 3 youngest siblings all passed away, making her the baby of the family. Even as the baby, she had something special about her, something domineering and omnipresent. As the youngest to survive, she was left here for a reason. She was left here to change the world, and that she did. Caregiving came naturally to her. She had my mother, Kay, when she was only 16 years old, and dropped out of school around the 10th grade before marrying my grandfather, Rall Elder, and starting her family. She would go on to have an additional 3 kids by birth: Rall L. Elder Jr., Sarah Elder, and Stephanie Elder, who we call Aunt Munch. She also had 1 adopted nephew, my Uncle Kevin Hobson, and raised 24 foster kids over the years for the state of New Jersey. She would go by many names in her life: Mommy, Lou, Louise, Aunt Lou, Aunt Lou, Big Lou, Miss Ellie, Irene, Nanny, and several others. That's the kind of spirit she had. The embodiment of every woman, a reflection of all. Nanny worked hard for each dollar she ever earned. At every point in her life, she had some kind of hustle going on. She held down regular jobs, including one working as a registered nurse. She owned a daycare. She did flea marketing, and she ran a catering business for many years. She had other hustles, including my favorite, providing microloans to the women in her church. With the loans, the women would buy diamonds from Miss Ruth, the diamond lady in our neighborhood, and pay her back at a low interest rate. Nanny kept a little red book in which she detailed all the money she was owed and used it to track payments. She was that type of boss. With all she had going on, though, her greatest investment was in her grandkids, or, as she would say, the grands. We got the most of her time, love, and energy, something none of us will ever forget. Nanny always used to say the world was playing a trick on her because she kept having grandsons. First, my cousins Little Rall and Little Kevin in 1980, then my cousin Rasul in 1981, me in 1985, my younger brother Garrett in 1988, and my cousin Justice in 1994. She desperately wanted a granddaughter, but with me, an effeminate boy who spent the most time with her, I think she got a little bit of what she wanted. Still, she would have to wait nearly 25 years after her first grandchild was born before our little cousin Kennedy Elder Law arrived in 2004. Kennedy was sort of named after Nanny, with Nanny's middle name being her first name. Nanny got to live her final years with a granddaughter.